Ali and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and it is my favourite time of the month. It is my TBR game time. Time for my TBR game. I am a basic witch. October is like one of my favourite reading times of the year because it is the one time of the year where I try my hardest to read on theme. That theme being anything mildly spooky, scary, gothic, weird, anything that just gives ooh October vibes. That is what I love. But I'm also torn because in October it's still autumn, so I want to read like fun autumnal stories, which basically means that I end up with a massive TBR every October. I am also participating in 3 readathons this month. 3. That's why I'm doing my TBR video a little bit earlier than I normally would, because I have so many books. So many. This has taken me a long time to plan, so I just thought that when I was ready I would film it. That's why it's being posted early. There are, like I say, a lot of books. So I have a drink and I have my notebook because there's a lot of planning that had to go into this. I am going to start with my TBR game, and then I'm going to go through each of my readathons individually, trying as best I can to have books that count for multiple readathons. And I'm excited. My TBR for October is terrifying. I don't think I can hold everything, but we're gonna see how we get on. Update of my September TBR. I have 2 books that I have yet to start, but I still have a week left of the month, so I think I'm gonna get them all done. Let's get into the rules for October. TBR game for October, take 2. This time I am definitely filming. Roll 1 is a 2. 1, 2. A person on the cover. I do have to make a confession first though. This is not the first time I played my rules. This is the second time because the first time I got some great picks and I then realised I hadn't been recording. So, second time lucky. And the first rule this time was a book with a person on the cover. And I'm going with 2 Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. So let's have One Dark Window as a placeholder because this book is not yet out. 2 Twisted Crowns is the sequel to this book, the Shepherd King series, and it surrounds a mysterious magic system based on cards. There is evil, there is good, there are demons. It is promising to be one of my favourite series ever, even though I've only read the 1 book. But I am so excited about this book. It comes out halfway through the month, I think. I pre-ordered it ages ago, so I know I will be having it, and I have been eagerly awaiting and anticipating this book because, book 1 ended on such a cliffhanger. I need to know what happens. I'm very excited about putting this on my list. Roll number 2 is a 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Planned for a vlog. Roll number 2 is a book that I plan for a vlog. I want to have a NetGalley reading vlog because I don't know about anyone else, but I'm really behind on my NetGalley books. So I want to have a dedicated vlog to those. So I am gonna add onto my TBR The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. This book is giving me a little bit of practical magic vibes. There is a witch who feels like heartbreak is like her curse. She's got 4 heartbreaks, but she sort of feels like that is the price she has to pay in order to have her magic. And she returns back home, I'm hoping to a small town, where she meets one of the first loves of her life. And she sort of hopes that maybe it could work this time. I'm so in the mood for like some witchy romances, as you will see from the rest of the books that I want to read. Roll number 3. 1. Yellow. Cover makes me happy. Rule number 3 is a cover that makes me happy. I love this prompt. It makes me happy. I'm going with All's Well by Mona Awad because it looks like the characters dancing for joy. And how could that not please my little soul? It does. This is a somewhat creepy book, I think. We have a helicopter flying overhead, but we're just gonna plow through because there's a lot of books left. This is about a young woman who is kind of on a downward spiral and her life is not going where she thought it would go. She participates in a production of All's Well That Ends Well by Shakespeare and is confronted by these mysterious strangers who seem to know an awful lot about her. And it also feels like there is like a sort of mutiny happening within the theatre company. It feels like they did not want to perform this play. So I have read just one book by Mona Awad before and it was Bunny, and I will not shut up about how much I loved Bunny. So I'm going into this very excited and yeah. Rule number 4, I'll try and stay on the board. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pink. A book under 250 pages. Rule number 4 is a book that is under 250 pages. And I am going with A Maze of Murder by Kate Craik. This is a witchy paranormal mystery with a clumsy witch who's like, oh, I'm terrible at doing magic. And I don't think she's going to be terrible. I think that we're going to find out that she's not as bad as she thinks. I bought this book amongst approximately 40 others during the Amazon Kindle Stuff Your Kindle Day. So I got this for free with a whole bunch of other ones because that is how I fill my Kindle. And this one, it sounded really good and I love a witchy mystery. Rule number 5. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another pink. A spooky book. Rule 5 is a spooky book. I went with The Forest Demands Its Due by Kosoko Jackson. I saw Ryan LaSala talking about how much he had enjoyed this book on Instagram and I was like, I want that book. I want it. So I've pre-ordered this also. So this will be coming at some point in the month. I've got it on an audio book. So I may or may not listen to it while walking through some woods. That could be foolish or genius. This takes place in a boarding school where a student meets a sort of grisly end and all but one of the remaining students have forgotten him. He doesn't exist to them. And this one student is going to be looking into what on earth is going on and why does nobody remember this poor child who has faced a terrible end. And from the blurb it tells me that it is about how power corrupts and this student is going to try everything they can to get out of this very prestigious school alive. Rule number 6. 2. 1, 2. Green. A classic. Rule 6 is a classic. I like to reread the same classics over and over, especially in October. So how could I not put Dracula by Bram Stoker on my TBR? This is the edition, it's a Wordsworth paperback that I'll probably be reading. I do have some gorgeous like coffee table editions of Dracula, but this is the one I usually read because it's a nice floppy paperback and I don't think I need to explain what Dracula is about. It is about a vampire called Count Dracula. He holds an estate agent hostage and then comes over to England where he wreaks havoc. That was maybe our last roll, but we will see if there's a 7th roll. There is. 1. A retelling. Roll number 7 is a retelling and I have to pick Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. This is a Jane Eyre retelling. I love Jane Eyre. She's just so plain. They will keep telling you that she's so plain looking. And yet every adaptation she's played by an absolute goddess of an actor. So, but no, you have to remember she's plain. This is a retelling. I'm so excited about it. Only learned about this recently, so this is one of my newest purchases, and it's also one of my most anticipated reads. And in this retelling, reimagining of Jane Eyre, there is a young woman who is sort of cast out from her employment, her home, and she needs to find a new place to work. So she accepts this job, pretty much no questions asked, and realizes that things are a little unusual and her boss is hiding some pretty big secrets. But the main twist that I know about so far is that the main character, Andromeda, is an exorcist and she cleanses houses of the evil eye. This is something, oh yeah, it's gonna be scary, but Jane Eyre is actually a little bit scary, I find. But I am like the high priestess of Wimp Town, so maybe it's not scary to other people. So that might be our last roll. Let's see, maybe roll 8. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That takes us to the end. So let's just pick a pumpkin because we never got to pick one. Let's go the middle pumpkin. Vampires. I like vampires. That was my last roll, but you may have seen on my board there were some delightful little cutout pumpkins, and what they were special Halloweeny prompts, and I didn't land on any of them. So I decided to give myself, in a month where I have many reading obligations, to give myself one extra prompt because I wanted a pumpkin. And the pumpkin I picked, I just went for the middle one, was a vampire book. I'm going with Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. This is another classic about a vampire. It is about Carmilla, who is a young vampire, and she's taken in by a young woman who's just so desperate for friendship and comfort. And it is, I view this as a love story, but I don't know if it's supposed to be a love story. In my heart, it is. And it's one of my favorite classics. It's very short. So even though I probably shouldn't have put more books on my TBR, it's such a short book. I usually read it in an afternoon and I always have a great time with it. So I added it. I also have my book for Kaylas buzzword, and the prompt for this month is a magical kind of word. So I'm going with Caffeine Before Curses by Christine Pope. This sounds like it's going to be like quite a cozy and light-hearted mystery. This book takes place after a murder has happened on a movie set, and our protagonist, our witch, runs a coffee shop, and there's going to be some romance, there's going to be some mystery, all good times. I also love coffee, so I'm in. And the last book on my October TBR for my game is my Read Christie pick. I'm not 100% sure what the official pick is for October. The theme is stabbing, because I've had a bit of bad luck recently reading the group pick. So I have just decided to pick my own. I'm going with a reread of, I'm not going with a reread of Midwinter Murders. So I picked up the wrong book. I'm going with a reread of Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is one of my favourite Agatha Christie books. It features Poirot. There is a train and a very unpleasant man with many enemies is found with multiple stab wounds. And it's a locked room mystery, which is one of my favourite kinds of mysteries. So this is my physical TBR for October for my game, plus a couple of electronic versions, and it feels manageable. Absolutely fine. However, this is where it gets a little bit out of control. So readathon number 1 is This Witch Reads, which is a witchy readathon organised by the lovely Bex. I will link her channel in the description. It is being ran over on Instagram, and sign-ups I think are up until the 1st of October. If you want to join in, then head over to Instagram, let Bex or even I know, and we can get you set up in a coven, of which there are 4. I am in the White Magic Coven, and I am one of the High Priestesses, which is gonna go to my head. It's gonna go to my head in October. I'm gonna come back wearing a crown. I I have not chosen fully my TBR for this readathon, but there are some witchy books that I really want to read, so onto the list they go. There are other books that for certain prompts I need to probably read the book first, then I'll know that it fits the prompt. So here are the books that I know for certain will definitely be going on my TBR. So I need a book with a light or a white cover. I'm going with A Kata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a book about a new witch. She discovers she has powers, and she and her best friend, they start learning how to use their magic together. All is great. Good times for all. However, then she is accosted by the witchy authorities, who are like, we need you to come and find a serial killer. So I'm so excited about this new witch trying to find this terrifying serial killer. Really excited about it. This has been on my TBR for a while, but I put it aside. Like many other books, I put this aside for October. So it's getting a chance to shine. And also, how gorgeous is that cover? It's so pretty. I am adding, how could I do a witchy readathon and not add one of my favourite books onto the list? Impossible. This Poison Heart by Kaylas is going on my TBR. This is my favourite duology of all duologies, with This Wicked Fate, which is right there. This is about Briasis, who learns she has magical powers. She's got plant magic. There's Greek mythology. There's family secrets. There's a loving and supportive family unit that just makes me cry when I think about how beautiful it is. There is found family. There is friendship. There is romance. There is everything you could ask for. And all I ask is that everybody in the world reads this and tells me how much they love it. And if you don't love it, please never tell me that, because I love it so much. I'm reading this for the chosen one trope. That I should have said what trope it was for before I started talking about how much I just love it. I also have chosen for a book that has a sort of modern witch / coven. I've gone with The Witchery by S. Isabel. It just sounds so fun. This is set in a town where each year a curse holds the town hostage, basically. And the witches, the coven, are trying their hardest to save the town and try to end this curse. And the reason I bought this book is the little quote on the back, which says, a spellbinding story brimming with magic, intrigue, and empowering female friendships. Empowering female friendships? Yes, please, sign me up. Also, another gorgeous cover. I have a few other prompts I need to fill that I haven't yet, so I really need some recommendations. If you have any, please let me know. I am on the lookout for books that meet the following criteria. A book featuring healing magic, and a book featuring clairvoyance or visions. So this is my physical TBR thus far for my witchy readathon, and it feels super manageable. Let's not pretend that we're not adding this onto another pile that's currently threatening to fall over. So the next readathon I'm participating in is the Spooky Beach readathon. Again, over on Instagram. All of these are on Instagram. I will pop any details in the descriptions for anybody who wants to join in, because readathons are fun. These are all kind of themed around films, so there are and/or prompts for each of them. The first prompt is a book that is either zombies and/or translated fiction. The book I had to run downstairs for is Deathless Divide by Justine Ireland. This is book number 2 in the Dread Nation series, which I actually think is a duology. This is about Jane, and she has a mission. She is off to try and find and potentially rescue, if needed, her mother. Jane has a superpower, shall we say. She is a zombie hunter. She can basically slay zombies, which is a very, very useful skill in this world because there's a zombie apocalypse. I'm terrified of zombies, so I don't often gravitate towards zombie stories, but there is something about Dread Nation that I really find that Jane is such a character that I feel I could be friends with her. I really have warmed towards her. She went through so much in book 1, and I just want to know what happens next for her. And I would like this to have a beautiful happy ending where everything is lovely. but I don't know if that happens in zombie apocalypse things. I don't think it does. I hope it does. Prompt number 2 is a killer in the family and or a POC author. And in the interest of not making my TBR 15 million books long, I am going to go with the POC author option, and I'm going to pop my favourite, This Poison Heart, onto my TBR for this readathon. Prompt number 3 is a dangerous animal or book published before 1990, and I don't think I have any books with dangerous animals. I'm trying really hard only to read books that I actually own, so I'm going to add Murder on the Orient Express, which came out way before 1990. It was published in 1934, so definitely meets that criteria, even though this particular edition is much newer. Prompt number 4 was werewolves and or a London setting. I'm not a huge fan of werewolf stories. I didn't think I would have a werewolf prompt book, but I do. I have Board Gate Werewolf by Tony Santarella. I have this on audiobook, and this has come to me super highly recommended by a few of my friends, so thank you, lovely friends. This is about a, shall we say, slacker man who is not the best at being a werewolf, and because he's so not the best at it, he has attracted the attention of a sort of mentor that is gonna really push him, and he's not really wanting to be pushed. So I'm very excited about this. I've heard that this is pretty funny to read, so I'm excited. Prompt number 5 was for a book with witches and or a historical setting. Now, you're thinking that I could just use a book from my witch readathon. And if you are thinking that, then you're smarter than me, because when I was writing up my TBR, that thought did not cross my mind. I instead picked a new book, The Bone Witch by Rin Chapeko. This is about a necromancer, and I love the idea of reading a book about a necromancer witch. That's why she's called Bone Witch, because skeletons are, I was going to say skeletons are dead. We've all got a skeleton, but I don't even know what I mean. Prompt number 6, I think I may have actually ticked both prompts here. Maybe. Which is haunted house and or relationship issues. I'm going with She Is a Haunting by Trang Than Tran. This is about, this is a haunted house. I know this is a haunted house book. Main character is basically trying to keep her sexuality hidden from her family. So I think that counts as like a relationship issue. And the house, they're trying to do up the house, get it all set up, but the house is haunted. The house is haunted, and there is a ghostly bride who's like chatting to our main character, and it just sounds fantastic. Again, I bought this book a wee while ago and I put it aside for October in my giant pile of books for October, because the month is still 31 days. There's not that much time. Prompt number 7 is vampires / coming of age. Again, if you're a smart person, you're thinking, Callie, you have 2 vampire books on your TBR already. You've clearly chosen one of those. You would be wrong, for I have not. I've chosen Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This is massive. I also think this is called Nosferatu in other countries, which might be something to do with car license plates. I don't know. But I got this book from the library, which has still got its little cover on it. I bought it in one of the sales, so it's been on my TBR, put aside for October. It has to be read. And this is about a chap who steals children in his car and takes them away to a land called Christmas Land, where they are changed, forever changed, and only one person has ever escaped him. And I don't even know. I don't even know if this is a vampire. I just assume, like Nosferatu, I assume. But I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. And we will find out. I will report back. And the final prompt for this readathon is Cursed Love and or Like a Fairy Tale. And I think I did well. I think I've done good, because this, again, ticks both categories, I think. So I'm going with not One Dark Window, I'm going with Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, but that book's not out yet, so we'll use book 1 as a placeholder. I could have played it smarter and had a shorter sort of TBR for this readathon. But I mean, if I don't get everything read, I'm not going to cry about it. It'll be fine. It's not a competition. I'm just trying to read a good variety of books and have a nice time. So Readathon 2. This is my TBR, which is somewhat unwieldy, but I think it's more because I lifted it like a weird person. There we go. Much more manageable, I think. And on to my final readathon for October. This one is called Build Your Spooky Squad. And basically there are different categories and build your squad. Once you've filled all the prompts for one category, they're on your squad, and that's pretty much it. So for the witch category, I am going with The Witchery by S. Isabel. This will fit for the prompt of a book with witches. And the next book in this category is a book with stars on the cover. So we're popping The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic onto the TBR for this one. And then that's it. Using 2 books from existing readathons, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. For the demon category, a book with a demon theme or death in the title, I'm going with The Forest Demands Its Due by Kosoko Jackson. For a book with a skull or bones on the cover, The Bone Witch by Rinch Pecco. Bones on the cover. Fits. For vampires, again, you're thinking, I need a book about vampires. I've already got 3 on my TBR. Again, you're so smart, but I haven't thought that way. I've gone with a new book. I've gone with a new book. I've gone with Dracula by Dakar Sotra and J.D. Barker. This is almost like a prequel to Dracula. It has been written using Bram Stoker's notes. His great nephew, I believe, has been involved in just putting everything together. Again, not a short book. But I really want to read it, and it feels like I should read it in October. If I don't get this one read, I'm still going to read it. It feels like it should be read in October. And it's got the fun cover. I'm dropping books, which amused me no end. But I was smart for the other 2 prompts for this category. A book with blood, heart, or vampire in the title. This Poison Heart, my favourite book, is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in my reading goals. And then a book with red featuring on the cover is not One Dark Window, it's 2 Twisted Crowns. But the cover, I will pop a little picture up of the cover. It's stunning. So definitely fits the criteria. There is red on the cover. For the zombie category, a book featuring zombies. Hello, Deathless Divide. I'm going with this. I don't think I have any other books that feature vampires, so Deathless Divide, it has to be you. It's not super short, but I'm so excited about this one anyway that I'm happy to add it on for this readathon. A book with an eerie cover. I'm going with one of my most recent purchases. I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. This is about also such a creepy and eerie cover. It's about a dancer in Paris. A dancer in Paris. I was already intrigued. She finds herself in the catacombs. There is a river of blood and she's offered a deal. And the deal is going to sort of turn fortunes in her favour, but the deal is really asking for quite a lot. And this sounds like it's going to be so good. I've seen a few people chatting about this and all of the reviews I've seen so far have been glowing. So onto the TBR you go with many friends. Hi, this is Editing Kelly. I forgot to add one book, which is a book that scares me for any reason. And I have to pick Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar. I'm terrified of clowns because clowns are terrifying and that's a normal fear. So that is why I have chosen this book. Back to the video. And then for the final category in my final TBR readathon, in my final readathon TBR is for humans. So a book that is not fantasy. I'm going with 1979 by Val McDermid. This is Scottish crime fiction, and it is also the book that I need to read for the Scottish Book Club, so it was going on the list regardless of whether it met any prompts, and it does, so delighted to have it there. And the final book is a book that has a dark cover or features the word dark, and I kind of got a bit overwhelmed by books at this point. I don't know if you can tell I'm somewhat overwhelmed, but I am going with Dark Eden by Chris Beckett. It has dark in the cover, and it's another book I got from the library, and I put it aside for October because it's got like this skeleton of a moth, and I just thought it looked a little bit creepy. Maybe it's a butterfly. I think it's a moth. This is about almost like a somewhat commune set up, and things start to go wrong and people are struggling, but they can't really leave Eden, which is where they live, and somebody decides to break the rules in order to save the day. And I kind of like the idea of a somewhat isolated setting with not necessarily a horror theme. So yeah, I'm excited. I am aiming to read 23 books this month. It could be 26 because there are 3 prompts that I don't yet have for my Witchy Readathon, so recommendations greatly appreciated. This is my physical TBR so far. Oh, yep. Yes, that's a lot of books. Am I stupid? Possibly. Am I in for a great reading month? 100%. Like, even if I don't get everything finished, I have so many amazing books on my TBR that I am really excited about. So it's going to be a fun month, even if I don't reach my ridiculous goal of reading. I mean, I feel a book stack should probably never be bigger than your head for a month, and this definitely is. So please wish me luck and let me know what you plan on reading in October. Do you also have a ridiculous TBR that you can barely hold? Let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye!